In this segment, I'm going to show you how to set the default color for fill and outline. By default color, what I mean is if I just choose a tool and create an object, it comes up in what is known as the default color. So in this case, you can see that it's got a light blue fill and a dark blue outline. And if I select the object, you can see that here on the thread palette. We've got a light blue fill and a dark blue outline. Now, that's known as the default colors, and we can actually decide to control that. Of course, you can always modify those colors. In other words, if I want to use my select tool, select this object, I can change the blue fill to be red if I would rather have red fill, and I can change the dark blue outline to be a light blue outline just by simply clicking on the colors that I want up here in the thread palette. Remember, the lower right hand side of a square is for the fill, and the upper right hand side is for the outline. So, and the other thing what I've done here is I just changed from the defaults to some new colors. So I now have a red fill with a light blue outline, and perhaps I'd even like to have that light blue outline be a satin serial or a satin stitch as opposed to a running line, and you can make that change as well. But what if we wanted this to be our default so that all of our objects came up with a red fill and a blue satin stitch outline? Well, we can do that. And so the easiest way to do that is to, first of all, you need to make sure that you have nothing selected. So when you have something selected, you can tell because there's a box around it. And if I just click off, I let go of that object, and I now have no objects selected. So when I have no objects selected, if I come down to my color palette, and let's say I wanted to have red as my default fill color, I'm just going to click on that red now, and this little default dialog box opens up, and it says set the default fill color. And so I can then choose whether I want to make this the default color for new graphic objects or new text objects. So you get to choose, and is it going to be for this design only or for every new design? So you can change, you can make that decision. So I'm going to say for graphic objects and just for this design only. So that's it. I say okay, and now red will be my default fill color, and if I wanted to set the light blue as my default outline color, then same thing. I just come down to the light blue, left click on the outline side of it, says set the default pen options, and again make that the default color for new graphic objects or text objects. And this is where you can change. Right now, set the default width to it's set for 0.4 millimeters. If I change that to be, let's say, 2 millimeters, that'll change between that's what's going to control the software, whether it's a running line or a satin line. So basically what I'm saying is, for this design only, make my default pen color or outline color this light blue and set it at 2 millimeters. So I'll say okay. So now if I go ahead and just grab my star tool again and draw myself a star, you can see right away that my star, if I right click, let go, my star automatically has a red fill and a light blue outline. So you can control those settings, the default settings, by just simply not having anything selected and then clicking on a color in your color palette to bring up the default fill or default outline settings.